From my point of view, the Jedi are evil. In The Phantom Menace, at the beginning of the movie, Qui-Gon Jinn says, "These Federation types are cowards. The negotiations will be short."
These Federation types are cowards. The negotiations will be short.
This is hardly a friendly way to open a fair discussion and honest negotiation. This seems more in line with two mafia thugs coming in with baseball bats, demanding that the Neimoidians give them protection money. No wonder they are utterly terrified of the Jedi. In Attack of the Clones, Anakin is dining with Padme, and he discusses the concept of aggressive negotiations, which he describes as negotiations with a lightsaber.
Aggressive negotiations, what's that?
Negotiations with a lightsaber.
This is played off as playful banter, and they both laugh about it, but I don't think it's much of a stretch that he might be somewhat serious. I mean, it's pretty in line with Jedi behavior. In Revenge of the Sith, General Grievous greets Obi-Wan by calling him the Negotiator.
Yes, the Negotiator.
This seems like quite the sarcastic nickname, given that Grievous is clearly the victim of some horrible injury and has a vendetta towards the Jedi to the point that he collects their weapons as trophies.
Your lightsabers will make a fine addition to my collection.
It's safe to say he is mocking the idea of the Jedi being peaceful negotiators, as the Jedi are in fact aggressive negotiators. The title crawl states that the Jedi are the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy, but in actuality, the Jedi are no such thing. And I know that the knee-jerk reaction to me saying this is that this is just the movie being bad, that the movie just failed to make the Jedi the guardians of peace and justice that they were intended to be. But I very much think that they were intended to be wrong and flawed. The title crawl is not necessarily meant to be taken at face value. It could be an unreliable narrator, propaganda that favors the Jedi perspective, and in fact, the wording of the title crawls changes between films. In The Phantom Menace, the Jedi are the guardians of peace and justice. In Attack of the Clones, the Jedi now stand for peace and order. Justice is not a thing anymore, apparently. It's all about maintaining order as the Jedi are beginning to lose their control and power. And the title crawl of Revenge of the Sith even says there are heroes on both sides and that evil is everywhere. By Episode 3, the Jedi have completely lost the narrative framing. Star Wars itself often says that good is a point of view.
Good is a point of view, Anakin.
Luke, you're going to find that many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view.
And Anakin himself, later in the film, declares that he will bring peace and justice to the galaxy.
I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire.
Which is essentially the same thing that the Jedi have been claiming the entire time. When it's a single individual, it's more transparent how deranged this is. Yet when it's a formal organization, this deranged notion becomes accepted and normalized. If these guardians of peace and justice are so great, why is there an entire separatist movement who wants to escape their jurisdiction? It's almost as if the Jedi are tyrannical. The separatists even have a hidden base where they keep the hidden Death Star plans, just like the rebels in the original trilogy. In a deleted scene, the separatists are even referred to as the Rebellion.
And if I don't join your rebellion?
The Republic cannot be fixed, my lady. It is time to start over.
The Republic is the Empire, not just in the final moments of Revenge of the Sith, but throughout the entire prequel trilogy. It's just that you only see the full extent in the conclusion. Only at the end do you understand.
Only now, at the end, do you understand.
The prequels are an inversion of the original trilogy, where we see things from the Empire's point of view. And the Separatists are just the rebels who lost. History is written by the victors. And the prequels are great postmodern movies that deconstruct Star Wars in a far more subtle and poignant way than something like The Last Jedi, which does so in a more overt and annoying way that breaks the fourth wall and accomplishes and says very little of any interest. The original trilogy had a rather simplistic good versus evil conflict, and the prequels flip this on its head by painting the Empire as the good guys and the rebels as evil. Many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on your point of view. Whether you view the prequels as bad movies or unconventional masterpieces largely depends on what narratives you buy into, what kind of lens you use, and what angles you take into consideration. Embrace a larger view. There's always a bigger fish.
There's always a bigger fish.